Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome back to the new and improved Life's Your Bitch. I hope you are doing well. I have missed you so much, like you wouldn't even believe. Although we're going to get into it, this break has been so very necessary, and I feel like I'm putting on like a lot of pressure on myself to have this first episode be like the comeback of all comebacks, and like have it perfect and have it great to the point where like I'm getting a bit anxious to sit down and film it, which is so silly because really nothing's changed. Not hopefully, but we do have some brand new sparkly art. I think I've just finalised it like 2 seconds before starting this. I really wanted to have the art finished and done before starting to film the new series, which is honestly why the break has taken so long, because I've just been trying to like figure it out and life got really busy and I kind of needed like a whole kind of like day to reshoot and finalize. Like I've been playing around for honestly like what feels like the whole like 4 or 5 weeks I've been gone, but hopefully you like it. I think it's a bit more me, it's a bit more mature, it's a bit more messy, it's a bit more in your 20s if you will. We'll get into all of it, but before we get started with anything else, before we dive into the new season structure, fun new little things we'll be doing in the podcast and all of that good new stuff, let's come back down to earth. Let's ground ourselves and let's talk about 3 things that we're grateful for. As always, if you are new here, by the way, hi! It's so nice to have you. My name is Megan. I'm acting like this is series 1 of the podcast and like we've not done this before, but there are actually already, I think, 145 episodes of Life's Your Bitch you can already go and listen to. We are actually 3 years into this podcast, which is crazy, but just in case anyone new is here, hello, welcome to the best corner of the internet, the podcast where we are changing the narrative, we're talking about our 20s, we're trying to navigate it together. This is very much like my real life experience to yours. The whole description of this podcast would have been changed, but I've not really done that yet. Nothing has really changed. I think it's just kind of realigning the art and the description to what is really going on, because I feel like slowly this podcast has evolved. But anyway, we're going to talk all about that in 2 seconds. 3 things I am grateful for. Guys, this isn't even on my list, but it's currently 18 minutes past 6. It literally looks like it could be 12 outside. Oh, I feel even more grateful for it and like confused this year round, because I feel like it's come round so fast. Like the other day I was walking around doing a clear out. Go and watch that video on YouTube if you haven't already. And I swore it was like 3 p.m. and it was like 5, but it was so bright outside that I forgot. And this time of year is my favourite because it will still get dark about, what time is the sunset these days? Like, it's the end of March, for God's sake. Like, it's coming thick and fast. Although I still think we're in, like, the half... Like, I think it's before 7 right now, right? So maybe, like, 7:30 is my favourite time of year. Because after work, you can still go on a walk, get in the sunshine, go and do something, meet your friends. Like, do you know what I mean? You can still basically go on a walk and go outside and be outside. But when you want to start cooking dinner and getting cosy, you can. And there's no, like, guilt because it's dark outside. I feel like sometimes in like summer, it's so good on the weekends, but midweek it's like I get in bed at like 8, 9 sometimes, and it's obviously great in summer because like you don't have to, you can be out with your friends doing whatever, but if you are in and you do want to go to bed, you kind of, I remember in uni, especially in second year when it was like COVID, so we weren't doing anything, but we had like a glorious summer, and it would be like 8:30 and I'd be like, can I get in bed? Because the sun is still shining outside. And while that is great on the weekends or when you were in like sixth form or like uni and you had all summer off and you were off and you weren't doing anything, like that is the best feeling ever. But when you still got work the next morning, it's like, I need the sun to go down because I need to go to bed. Anyway, so this time of year is actually kind of like my favourite. It's not, I love those summer days, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm feeling so British, but I am feeling so grateful for that. I am feeling very grateful for this break and the slight change, the slight fine-tuning kind of going on in my content at the moment. I don't think I realised how much I needed it, and I think it's really kind of ignite. It's kind of ignite. What's that word? it's ignited. That doesn't sound right. Like a bit of a spark, a bit of a love for it for me. And I don't think I realised how much I needed this break. So thank you so much for all your lovely messages on this break and for allowing me like the time and the space to do this, because I promise you now we are coming back so much better, so much stronger. I am so excited to be back. You have no idea. And even like on YouTube, I've taken a bit of a step back from like the weekly vlogs every single week. So I'm not vlogging every single day of my life. And it's actually made a really huge difference to my mental, which I don't think I realised or like was prepared for. And I, number 2 or number 3 actually, have got a life coach. And I'm realising a lot of things. And I'm really feeling a shift start to happen. Like within myself, within how I'm going about my days, the type of content I'm producing, allowing myself the time and space to get creative. And I can just start to feel it now. I just feel like the clogs are beginning to turn. Things are starting to make sense. I'm finding a path that leads me to feeling like, I mean, we're still very much at the beginning of the path, but like carving the path that makes me feel like fulfilled and creative and good. And yeah, it's going well. And I feel like I'm just starting to feel the benefits of like that break and my life coach and everything coming together, and now kind of have this new energy approaching things again a little bit, which feels really, really great. As soon as this podcast is like back up and running next week and I've got some episodes pre-filmed and like doing the podcast is back in my weekly routine and stuff, like I'm just so ready. I'm kind of like, this week is my last kind of tying, I don't know, loose ends, restarting the pod kind of, and then next week I've got this like new weekly plan I'm going to try and follow, and like I'm just feeling really good about things. And number 3, I'm grateful, or number 4 now, grateful for my creativity. Like I just said, I am letting her out more and more. And more recently, it's something, I don't know, I've just become really grateful that it's something I naturally have, even if at the moment it really needs some work to be like pulled out of me and kind of allow myself the time and space to sit in it and let it come out and understand that it's not something that happens at an office desk or something that, I don't know, is always on, but you really have to allow space for it. You have to allow time for it. You have to make room in your day for creativity. And I think recently I've just realised how much I actually value it and how that's okay. And I can do that. And I'm really grateful that I am like naturally a creative person, because I just really love it. And again, it's kind of given me this newfound gratitude for my job and my day-to-day life and my hobbies, and like I'm just feeling aligned, can you tell? And I'm really grateful for it. And I think those are the 3 things that have kind of got me there thus far. Anyway, welcome back, guys. We have had a bit of a refresh, a whole new pod. Well, not quite, but it feels like it. I actually did consider changing the name, but we're not doing that. A bit of a glow up, a bit more mature, also a bit more messy. I'm not sure we can get more real over here, but I do feel like it feels like new and it feels fresh. I've always wanted this podcast to feel like we're on the journey together, and I'm just sharing what I've figured out, what I've learned, the things I'm thinking about at the moment, and it's almost like a joint effort, if you will. But I didn't feel like the art, the description, the vibe was matching up to the messiness of your 20s that I was experiencing and am experiencing, because although I'm so into like self-development and wellness and being the best version of yourself, I think the road to get there is quite messy and can be quite uncomfortable and isn't easy. And I think, I don't know, things were just feeling a bit polished, things were feeling, I don't know, the art was giving, I love it so much, like so much, but I just wanted something that felt a bit more like me and a bit more 20s, and also allowed space for like podcasts and topics that weren't maybe all self-development and did have like, I don't know, a bit more edge in them, something a bit different. And I just feel like we've got that, and I'm really excited. So welcome to the new season of Life's Your Bitch. Really, like I said, this is season 2. The first season was 3 years long. But for the ease of this new chapter, welcome to season 1 of the new and improved Life's Your Bitch. So what does that mean? We are going to go into 10 episode seasons. If you are an OG podcast listener, I can probably hear you being like, no, please. I have spoken about this before in the last episode that's obviously now like 5 weeks old, maybe even 6. But yeah, we're going to go into 10 episode series just because that break was so valued and I feel so fresh coming back. It is only me, myself and I over here. There's only so many ideas I can think of without feeling, I don't know, burnt out and feeling like I'm still adding value to you. And the podcast is very much a passion project. I don't earn a penny, but it's my favourite thing I do. So I think finding the balance of that, keeping the passion, not letting it take over my life, not letting it burn me out, and just like having fun with it. I think that break is needed. They're going to go live on Sundays still at 7 a.m. every single week. And they are also over on YouTube. Hello, if you are watching on YouTube, it's good to have you here. And I'm really excited about it all. The Instagram is going to be back up and running and we're going to have a broadcast over there. I think I'm going to make 2 broadcasts over there because something a little bit different is we are actually going to start a mini book club each season, which I'm so excited about. I definitely wanted to add something a little bit new into the podcast this time around, but like I said, at the core, everything's the same. I just needed a little bit of a break and a little bit of a refresh, but I've always wanted to talk about books a bit more with you guys. Not that I'm like a booktuber, but I do love reading and I've definitely got more into it this year, and I'm trying to get back into my non-fiction in like a non-boring way. Like I said, very into self-development, very into wellness. I do think there's only so many of those books you can read though. Like there's only so many books you can read about manifesting, about habits, about all of those things, and them not be repetitive. So I'm trying to like branch out into like, the book we've got is actually a bit of like a feministy book, if you will. Be reading books about money. I've got the next book I'm reading. So I just want to share some non-fiction with you guys that isn't necessarily self-development, because I really want to learn more this year. Like hot girls read non-fiction just to learn new facts, learn new things. So that is the vibe I'm kind of taking with my non-fiction at the moment. I have so far read Ali Abdul's Feel Good Productivity, which I actually gave 2 stars out of 5. Sorry, Ali. Again, I think books like that, once you've read a couple, there's only so much someone can say. Psychology of Money, which was actually really good. I gave it a 3, but I think I should have given it a 4, really, because anyone listening to this, I do suggest at some point you give it a read. It was a really easy read. I think I read it in like a week. It's like 200 pages, but it's like 20 chapters. So there's not really 200 pages, like every chapter, you know what I mean? There's like 4 half blank pages. It's so consumable. It's not full of like life-changing stuff, but it's definitely full of little nuggets that I think I will remember forever, for a very long time. So I definitely suggest everybody give it a read, which is why I think 3 is a bit harsh. Maybe 4, but not 4 because it's completely life-changing. 4 just because I think it's a really good book to read. And I have done a whole finance course and I'm very interested in that, and I've done a podcast with someone on finance. So maybe I knew a lot of the stuff in there that maybe other people might not have thought about. So I do think it was a really great book. Anyway, do I want to tell you what we're reading at the moment? Or am I going to tell you that at the end? Okay, I'm going to tell you now. I'll tell you at the beginning of the episode, because we are going to get into a little bit of a bulk episode. If you are watching, you can click on Spotify and watch. Hello, if you're on YouTube. This is it. This is what we're going to be reading. This has actually been on my bookshelf, to be fair, for nearly a year. My mum got me it actually for a really long time, because I've had it on my iPad since uni when I wrote... I can't remember what I was writing about that I wanted a fact from this, but I downloaded it and had like a read of it, and then it wasn't exactly what I expected, and I wasn't in the place to start reading books. I was literally just trying to find some facts for my dissertation, not gonna lie. But my mum got me it last year when I was saying that I want to read and like learn more about like feminism and like women in the world that have done great things, and just kind of like learn more about the patriarchy, if you will, and just like have a better understanding of that so I can have a better argument with people if needs must. So this is what is going to be my next read. It's actually not, to be fair. So this is going to be my next read, but I don't think it's relevant to everybody. And that is How to Win Friends and Influence People, which does feel like a funny thing to sit here and tell you that I'm going to read, because it's like, I'm going to crawl into your mind and you are going to become my friend and I am going to influence you. But it's been a book that's been on my radar for a really long time. And then I seen one TikTok the other day of a very successful woman who said she rereads it every year. And I was like, I'm going to give that one a read. Again, different to anything I've read before. And I'm excited to read it, but I don't think it's maybe that needed for like everyone. I don't know. I'll let you know when I read it. I'll definitely keep you updated. I do think it's a good thing to maybe just, I think the idea of it, the concept of it, obviously I don't know, I've not read it, is like a good thing for everybody to know, like handling people, ways to make people like you, how to win people into your way of thinking and being a leader. For example, I've got a call tomorrow with this community that's like supposedly really like hard to get into, and it just looks really great though, and looks like it could be a lot of value, but supposedly they accept 20% of applicants, and I've got through the first like 2-3 stages, and now I'm meeting with the guys, and I'm like, see, this would be a good thing to have read to make sure they like me. And the TikTok that won me over was a woman who owns like a workout class. I think it's like an American chain, so I didn't know what it was. But I was saying that's why you'll always hear the instructors shout your name in our workout class, because people connect most with their names and it makes people remember you. It makes people feel like seen and listened to. And I was like, that's a really like lovely point and like nice thing to know, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm so bad with names. But yeah, she was my final straw. So that's actually what I'm going to read next. But the series is 10 weeks long, so I will definitely get through both of these. But the one I'm suggesting we all read is Invisible Women, Exposing Data Bias in a World Designed for Men. Let me read you the back. It won Science Book Prize. So I am a bit apprehensive about reading this. I think it's going to be a bit different. It's very data-based. It's exposing data. So it's very data-based. But there is a review here that says hugely readable. And like I said, for me, nonfiction at the moment is very much about learning. And let me read you the blurb. Imagine a world where your phone is too big for your hand, your doctor prescribes you a drug that is wrong for your body. In a car accident, you are 47% more likely to be seriously injured. If any of these sound familiar, chances are you're probably a woman. From government policy and medical research to technology, workplaces, the media, Invisible Woman reveals how, in a world largely built for and by men, we are systematically ignoring half the population, often with disastrous consequences. The author, Caroline something Perez, do remember I'm dyslexic, brings together for the first time an impressive range of case studies, stories, and new research from across the world that illustrates the hidden ways in which women are forgotten, and then the profound impact that it has on all of us. I think that sounds so interesting, and again, it's something I would really just love to have more knowledge on. So when you have horrible men in your face trying to have an argument with you about how it's giving, like, you know, that scene of Johnny and Camilla in Love Island, and he's like, I just think feminists almost hate men, they want more than men, they want better than men, and he doesn't even fucking know what he's talking about. I want to be able to argue back to a man like that. So I think it sounds like a really interesting read. Anyway, yeah. I am going to make a broadcast channel on the Instagram for the book club, and just like a broadcast channel in general, so we can chat a bit more. I also have one on my personal one, so if you want to join any of them, please do. My Instagram is MeganShawXX. The podcast is just the podcast at Life's Your Bitch. Got there first. Nobody else had it. So yeah, come join. I'm thinking maybe we could even do like book club events. I really want to throw like an end of season 1 party event thing. So it'll be summer. I don't know. We'll see. So now we have yapped on and caught up, it feels only right to jump into the first episode and talk about all things starting over. Embracing the idea of starting over is one of the most liberating things you can do for yourself, allowing yourself some space, the permission to try something new. You don't need to wait for a major life event like a breakup or a career change to reinvent yourself. Sometimes the smallest decision to start fresh, whether it's adopting a new habit, a mindset, or a path, can spark the biggest transformations. I have known for to be honest, a long time, definitely over a year or so now, that nothing will change if nothing changes, and that something needs to give, something's got to change, something's going to be a little bit different. But I didn't really want to be honest. I didn't really feel I had the capacity to change. I didn't really know what I wanted. I didn't really know what I needed, and I didn't feel like I needed to up and drastically change anything, because things were okay. Not great, but they definitely weren't bad enough to change, and I think that's where you get stuck. Obviously, the topic of starting fresh, embracing like starting new and starting over is obviously inspired by this kind of change in my content at the moment and taking a bit of a podcast break and coming back to it from a different angle, because I so desperately want this year to be different. I want to be the person that I've always dreamt of. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to be honest, earn more so I can travel more and fulfill the dreams I always had. I want to get rid of the funny, funky, stagnant energy that I feel like I have been holding on to the last like year or two. So in March, I got a bit of a slap in the face. Q1 is over and nothing's changed. And I kind of had to look at myself and be like, are you doing this or not? Kind of in February, to be honest, because I had my like yearly review with my management in February, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do something this year. This year, I'm going to not even swallow the ego, but just kind of like swallow the routine and actually disrupt what I'm doing and disrupt my life, which is why I then got a life coach, because I needed somebody to come in and question me and question my life and question my decisions. So I really had to look myself in the mirror and be like, are you doing this or not? And the answer is yes, was yes. It can be hard to realize when you need to start over or just start fresh, but when you do, it can be really quite empowering. Empowerment comes from letting go of the old versions of yourself and stepping into something new. Starting over doesn't always mean a complete overhaul, but it is about evolving, unlearning, and growing into the next phase of who you are. Starting over is empowering. It allows you to shed the expectations, the fear, and limitations that may have been holding you back. You have the power to choose a different direction, to define success on your own terms, and embrace the unknown with confidence. This shift in perspective can really lead to growth in every area of your life, personal, professional, and even spiritually. I'm really trying to get back into my spiritual era again, little parts of it. Starting over isn't about failure, it's about growth. Reinvention. I was about to say reinventation. Starting over isn't about failure. It's about growth, reinvention, and realizing your full potential. That was what it was for me and what it always has been. It's like, yes, you can stay the same as you are now and things will be absolutely fine. But I know you do not want fine. You might not want to change things. You might not want to work any harder than you currently are. But I know you don't want fine. I know the 14-year-old in you would be damned if she had to live a mediocre life. That has just never been who I am at my core. Like, that's never been my dream. And I think in this last like 2 year, I've been stuck in this cycle of like burnt out, stressed, not doing anything, overwhelmed, burnt out, stressed, not doing anything. Everything's okay though, so I don't really have to change anything. But it's like, what if on this other side of you breaking free, starting fresh, trying something new is just like this life that you've always dreamed of? And something I can talk about in a minute is the fact that that's not easy. But it's not about failure. I always say that only failing is giving up, admitting that you're done trying. If you're still figuring something out and you're willing to try a new path, that is not you failing. If anything, that's like quite the opposite. I do also have a whole entire very old episode on dropping the ego and setting new goals, when I kind of thought I was breaking this cycle before, and who knows. I do think this time is different, but maybe I'll be back here and I won't agree. But a couple of years ago, post-uni, I definitely did give things a bit of a shake-up. It wasn't 2 years ago, it was maybe like a year ago, just over. I definitely did give things a bit of a shake-up, but not as much as I needed, and I definitely didn't allow myself any time and space. But anyway, I did a whole episode on dropping the ego and setting new goals. So even in that instance where you, I don't know, technically are failing a goal because you have decided to stop pursuing it, I don't think that is failing. Dropping a goal that no longer serves you is just you allowing yourself to grow, to change, to start fresh. And to be honest, I'd be worried if you weren't doing those things. I'd be worried if you weren't reevaluating, reassessing, and changing your goals, because goals you set when you were post-uni, even if you haven't achieved them, it doesn't mean that they still align with you, and you are allowed to change those and go after something else. You have not failed. And speaking of, a big part of this for me is that I have been questioning, when I say everything, every single aspect of my life at the moment, from what I want from my relationships, to my friendships, to my environment, to my job, to my career, to how I spend my time, to my hobbies, to what I find fulfilling, and wondering, just questioning it all. What am I doing out of routine and what am I doing out of choice? And it has been, I'm not going to lie, terrifying. It has been really scary to look your life in the eyes and be like, do I want this? Is this serving me? And I'm not joking when I say I've been looking at every single thing in my life and been asking that question. But even though it's been so scary, to realise that I can, within reason, change any of it at any point has been so empowering. I feel like I have kind of stepped into the driver's seat in my life. I can decide and maybe realise that maybe full-time influencing isn't for me. Maybe I am waiting for people in my life to meet me where I am so that I can go and do what I want. And that maybe, just maybe, I am standing in my own way. So if any of this is resonating to you, my advice is to just start looking at your life and be honest with yourself. What's working? What's not? The main question I think for me is, what are you doing out of routine and what are you choosing? It's okay. Don't be harsh on yourself. Try and be excited. Try and reframe it. Because it is quite terrifying. But that element of what are you doing out of routine and what are you choosing was really important to me, because a personal example is just like, I am routinely staying in Manchester like week on week, month on month, year on year at the moment, without once questioning, do I want to go and travel? Do I want to live abroad? Because if my boyfriend, and I'm being so transparent with you guys right now, turned around to me and said, I've got a job in Oslo, let's go and move in like September, I would go. And I would be very excited to go. My friend Jess has got some fun months away booked coming up, because she has kind of realised the same, and she's like, life is too short. And I'm like, oh my God, fun, I'll come with you. And it's like, why am I not then making these decisions for myself and going after the things that I clearly so desperately want? Because when the opportunity arises, I can't help but say no. But yeah, I'm not putting in those opportunities for myself. Which has honestly probably been the biggest realisation of it all. But when we talk about new beginnings, we often romanticize them. They're like these magical, movie-worthy moments. But in reality, they can be messy. They can feel uncomfortable. Like I said, when I say I've been questioning everything, it wasn't a good time. I cried a lot. I felt like I couldn't even make sense of my own life and what I wanted. But sometimes a fresh start isn't and doesn't need to be a big dramatic change. Sometimes it's a quiet decision to do things differently, to show up as the person you want to be, even when it's hard. And I get it. I so get that starting over and questioning your whole entire existence is utterly terrifying. There's the fear of the unknown, there's the fear of getting it wrong, of stepping out of what feels safe. But what if you just trusted that every new chapter is leading you somewhere better? What if you just believed that even the endings that you didn't want are making space for something greater? I want you to pause for a second and just ask yourself, what is one new beginning that I've been resisting? Maybe it's a habit you need to break, maybe it's a dream that you've been pushing to the side, or maybe it's just even a new way of thinking about yourself. What would happen if you just went for it? My life coach made me think a lot. It was the first thing we did about my dream life. And this really, really helped me be like, okay, well, none of what I'm doing right now is going to get me there. And I do really want that life. So let's get at it. And talking about it like this and like planning this episode has really got me like even more fired up. So maybe you need to do the same. Get your friends together, talk about your dream life, journal, Pinterest. Really picture what you want if you could have anything, because you can, by the way. You can achieve all of your wildest dreams and you can start fresh at any moment and you can change your mind at any moment. I just really want to urge you to look at your life and again ask that question of what is routine right now? And what is a choice? I really wanted the first episode back to be a bit of a catch up of like, hey, here's what's about to go down, here's the new series, and talk a bit about like where that decision has come from, what I've been feeling at the moment, and yeah, a bit more about, I suppose, where this pivot has come from. And I'm really excited to share this journey with you guys. I'm excited for my newer style of content everywhere, and I hope you are too. Yeah, that has been a bit of a short first episode, but like I said, I feel like I was putting so much pressure almost on this episode that I was getting scared to start, when really I just wanted to come in and say, hey, I hope you like the new style, I hope you like the new concepts, and this is your reminder that this is your life and you can quite literally change any part of it whenever you want to, and that I hope you are sticking to your own dreams. And I think sometimes we think that a dream should come really easy. But actually, thinking about my dream life with my life coach was one of the hardest kind of exercises I've done in a while, because it's like, what's your dream life? Not like, it's a hard one. I'm going to say something controversial. Stay with me here. Not where do you and your boyfriend want to be, or where do you think you'll be, or where's realistic to be. Like, consider nobody else, which I know is a bit silly, because that is, in your life you do consider other people and you do want a life with all of the people around you. So your dream life is one where they are there. So of course, sometimes we're happy to compromise. But we're talking remove people, remove barriers. What is your dream of dream lives? What do you want to be doing? What does it look like? How does it feel? Where are you? Like, really get down to all the nitty gritty. What are you doing every day? Where are you? Who do you live with? Where do you live? What do you do? What do you dress like? How do you talk? Who are your friends? What is your work? What do you do day to day? What do you do after work? Like, I really had to sit down and answer all those questions and was like, what am I doing? And I can't remember the exact words my life coach said, but something along the lines of like, a goal isn't something to work towards. It's like a way of acting in this moment. So your goal and your dream life isn't something that's really far away and you're working towards it and you're going to get there. You are, obviously. But there are so many elements of that just show you how you need to be living right now in this moment, which I love so much. And yeah, I'm sure we will talk a lot more about all of those things soon, but my camera is about to die. So thank you so much for your patience, your love, your support. If you're watching on Spotify, please leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube, please leave a comment down below. Subscribe, follow on whatever platforms you're on. And I cannot wait to see you here again next Sunday. We are so back, baby. We are so back. I love you guys loads. Mwah.